So tonight, my guest star is Moira Cormack. She is a sex, love, and relationship coach. She is a human design reader. She is also a breathwork and EFT practitioner. She's from Scotland, and she's also a book writer.
Mhm.
Like she's like everything. So I'm so glad that I have Moira Cormack with me tonight. And Moira, would you like to describe what you do in your own words?
Yeah, I kind of think that there is a sense where all of it is incredibly creative.
Mm,
And we lose our creativity. We
mhm,
lose touch with it when we're children. We're told to let it go. And
mhm,
a lot of what we do then becomes a one pattern thing.
mhm,
We draw pictures that are acceptable to our teachers. We live in an acceptable way. And in a sense, I see into the depth of people and I bring forth their creative essence, their uniqueness, their spirit, because I have kept mine
mm,
through a long and difficult journey. But I've always come back to the spirit. And I see so many people struggling under pressure with life all the time, pressure to be something, and I understand that deeply because I remember when I was first married,
mhm,
my husband wanted me to be a wife.
mhm,
So I was no longer Moira. I
mhm,
turned into a role called wife.
mm, mhm,
And I remember it well because he went to buy a suit and the tailor said to him, "Sir, shall I take up these trousers for you?" And he said, "No, I have a wife."
mm.
And he brought them back, and I said, "You'll have to take them back to the tailor. This wife doesn't sew." But I was still up against being boxed by my
Mhm,
label.
mhm.
And as women, we are boxed
Yeah,
by wife, mother,
yeah,
daughter, friend,
of course.
aunt, all of those things.
Mhm.
And to maintain our essence, our creative spirit, and only when our true spirit is found again does our creativity fly. So, by finding ourselves, we find that creative spirit inside ourselves. And then we feel like we're dancing through life in the way that we are here to dance through life, because that's actually what we're here for. We're here for joy.
Yeah,
We're here to be joyful.
that is so true. That is like so beautiful. Like, Moira, like I've told you, my show, I want to call it I Choose Me
Yes.
because I want to show uh, everyone who listens how it's very important to choose ourselves and chase your happiness in life.
Yes.
But why do you think it's very important? Chasing
Because
happiness.
it's not actually happiness that you chase,
Mm,
it is yourself.
mm,
Most of us live who we are not. And when we live who we are not, we create this hurt and resistance
mm,
because we want something because we've been told we ought to have something. So we've been told, for example, we ought to have a career established by the time we're 28. And when we reach 28 and we don't, there is this kickback of shame and blame, turning inwards, turning outwards, hurting other people, hurting ourselves. But when we don't live according to those rules, but we live according to the truth of us, we don't have that weight of expectations and the kickback from it.
mm.
So we live true to ourselves. And when you live true to yourself, you still wash the dishes. You
That's true.
still have the dishes to wash in the sink.
Yeah.
You're not going on to some elevated plane in this life. In fact, it's the dishes in the sink that bring joy because you do them with joy. You do them with presence because you just are you. And when we are just you, life's woes, you accept them, you feel them inside you, and
Mhm.
it's okay. They
Mhm.
don't have the kickback and the resistance and the hurt. They don't have that inside them.
Mm. That is so so beautiful and so wise. Okay, but like um before you have all this wisdom with you. Like you went through a time where you're looking for what is right. How like the time when you need to choose you. When was that? Can
Yes.
you tell me?
Oh, I realized quite soon after I was married I had to
Mm-hmm.
choose me. But I also had four children very quickly. I had the
Yes.
first three in under 3 years. So I was sort of effectively trapped, and I lived in a bubble with the children, and that was okay. But as they got older, I knew that I was not recognized or appreciated in the marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Abused would be closer to it.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of time when I was terrified. I wasn't just, oh, is there a little bit more? I was actually terrified. I could come home and hide behind the curtains in fear, and there would be nobody in the house. The fear was my own. But it was really frightening, and really frightening to know how to get out of such a situation.
Yeah.
Um, and I did finally get out, and I knew that I was not only going to survive this and move into a camp of other women who had survived. And that can be a step on the way, and I did have that step, but I knew it was a step and that I was going to thrive, that I was not, this was not going to reduce my life. And I remember this day walking with my dog, just the same walk we did every day. And we walked over this bit of hill, and I realized that this was during the divorce because it took 5 years and three court cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I had been swatted like a fly by his anger and his control,
Mm-hmm.
and I had never been centered in me. And I remember I can just see it exactly where I stood, this place where I stood with the oak trees in front of me and a bit of water and the height and the view. And I thought, that game is over. That game is just over for me. I'm not playing that game anymore. Um, I'm not trying to bounce off what is. I'm just going to be me. And it
Mm-hmm.
came over me clean and clear. And any road that you have traveled, that I have traveled, I can help other people travel. And I
Yeah.
think that is the crux of it. Uh, I help people really come to the thriving part.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know.
Um,
I've
yeah,
experienced your
yeah,
coaching. I've
yeah.
experienced, and it was wonderful. It was amazing. There is like real deep connection in the way you're coaching me. I also want to clarify: was it like mental abuse or verbal abuse or both?
It was emotional.
Physical
Yeah,
abuse, emotion? Oh, okay,
yeah. It was emotional abuse. Yes,
okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And what gave you strength to finally, okay, this is enough?
yeah. Anger.
Hmm.
I realized that inside me was a well of anger from the neglect.
Mhm,
That actually the grief. I thought first of all I saw it as grief for so long.
mhm,
I saw it as grief for so long, and then I realized that I was angry. I
mhm,
was angry that I should be treated that way. I should not be cherished and loved.
mhm,
And the anger rose up in me as an energy.
mhm,
And I, instead of letting it rule me and being thrown about by something else, I harnessed that anger
Mm.
and rode it to freedom. I mean, I called in a dragon of anger, climbed on its back, and rode it to freedom, more or
Mm.
less. Yeah, because we actually we have been taught as women, we have been
Yeah,
taught not to be angry, and the
true.
anger is unstable. And anger is the cause. A suppressed anger is the cause of our disease, our breast cancer, our broken hearts,
Yeah.
our heart attack. You know, all that energy suppressed inside us. And then we say we can't let it go because the only way we understand to let it go
Mhm.
is to be like the angry person in the room,
Mhm.
the person
Mhm.
that's out of control and rah.
Mhm.
But that's not what we have to be. What you do is you bring the anger into your body and you just allow it as an energy to pull you into life, because
Mm.
that's what it is. It
Yeah,
is an energy for life. Anger is telling you something. It's saying, I'm alive and I want something.
that's true. That is very powerful. Like you can use that energy to be empowered and then use it to uh, get whatever you need in life. But what was like the consequences of that? Like, did you think about the consequences if I do this? And what was the consequences of that?
The consequences of harnessing my anger to free myself.
Yeah, the consequences of uh, having that decision actually get like asking for a divorce.
Um, yeah, that was that was horrendous. That was an absolutely horrendous period of
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
Um, when I asked for the divorce,
Mhm.
um, or he offered it really. Um, that was just, I mean, it was awful. I mean, I had 4 children. I had a 6-year-old and two 15-year-olds because I have twins,
Mhm.
and a 13-year-old, and they had no idea. You know, I had done such a good job of keeping them in a bubble,
Mhm.
especially the younger ones. Um, yeah, it was being in an unhappy marriage, being in a difficult marriage is so debilitating.
Mhm.
I could feel that I walked this tightrope every day, all day, between balancing the negative energy
Mhm.
coming at me and this holding of my children's lives. And I could feel that I had held this for so long that
Mhm.
I wasn't going to be able to hold it for much longer at all. I was at the point where I really was going to go under. And I had 2 friends who I tried to help
Hmm. That was
as
that
much.
was my next question. Like, did you have a support system? That yeah, you like we
No,
always
so
need.
these friends were not a support system. I was the
Okay.
support system.
Hmm.
And both of them took their lives. Um, and that was a wake up call for me that these 2 women had taken their lives.
Oh
It was
my
a
goodness. You mean they went through the same thing, like similar situation?
um, one worse. I mean, worse because they didn't have um, whatever is inside or the support system, or they believed they couldn't be seen or heard,
Mm-hmm.
um, and they both took their lives, and that was a serious wake up call for me because I could feel that there was nowhere for me to go balancing everything I was balancing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
that if I didn't, I would lose my spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And if I lost my spirit, then I too would be following in their footsteps because
Yeah.
it would be unbearable to live like that. Um,
Wow.
and they were at the point I knew them desperate.
Mm. So, did you have anyone to help you going through this? Did you have a support? Who did you tell first? Like,
What is surprising is
mm-hmm.
who helps you.
Mm.
the people who help you are not who you think are going to help you. The people who help you are surprising. People who you think are going to help you don't. And that was really quite shocking for me. So it exposed my own grief and my own need of support, exposed the people who I was supporting and not getting a return, that it was a one-way street of support. But then other people came in who supported me unutterably. I used to walk my dog around this lonely place where there was nobody. And if I saw people, I would hurry off because I didn't want to see people because I didn't know how to talk. And one man saw me, he was a Buddhist, and he thought that woman is upset. And yeah, he
Wow.
came and he offered immense support, immense support. Yeah.
Wow. So help will come from any place. You just don't know.
You
But
just
help will
don't
come.
know.
Yeah.
Help will come. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Help will always come. Will always come. And in fact, yes, it was a surprising time where help came from. So I remember because it was 5 years. So that is a long time to be just exiting after a 16-year marriage, which has been the slow tick of trauma. So we had this long period of time, and I remember the man who would come to collect the lawnmowers, to service the lawnmowers, and he would see me on my own with the children, and I had a big garden and a big house, and I was looking after it on my own. And I remember he said to me one day, "Would you like a hug?"
Wow.
And yeah, and he just hugged me, and yeah, he just gave me this big hug. And the lady at the garage, when I went to get petrol, I would come in and speak to her, and it was a big supermarket garage. And yet somehow when I picked up petrol, it would just connect with her. And when I drove my car out, I mean, it was a supermarket petrol station with cars, just a steady stream of cars all day. She would come to the window and wave me goodbye as I left the supermarket petrol station. So there are always people who will lift you. There are always, and these small acts of, absolute kindness and trust. I had a open fire, a wood burning stove, and I had a log man that would come and was extra helpful to me. And one time I asked him for wood, and he said his car was broken and he didn't have enough money to get it fixed. And I said, "Well, come and see me," I said, "and I will lend you the money and you can pay me back when you get money." So he did. And then another time later, I needed a favor, and I said, "Could you go to my house and could you do this, that, and the next thing?" And he said, "Of course, of course." He would have done. He would have done anything for me because of the kindness.
You've helped him. Yeah. Wow. So, okay, so if you like, what would be the 3 things you can share with the listeners about if you're going through something? If you're going through similar situations, what are the 3 things that they should know that will give them the strength and power to do this, to take the decision, to choose
If they need
themselves?
to, yeah. I would say the first thing is to try to step back from the intensity of it. So if, go somewhere that feels right for you. So if it feels right to be at the top of a mountain, go to the top of the mountain, go alone. If you can. If it's the shore, go to the shore. If it's the market, go to the market. Go somewhere where you feel that you are yourself. And the environment feels really good because we can't make a decision really in the environment where everything is happening. So when we separate ourselves even a tiny bit from the whirl of what we're stuck in, we give ourselves a breath.
Mhm.
And it's not just a breath into our bodies, and that is huge. I mean, to exit a room and go to the bathroom and breathe 10 times, or to do a tapping meditation to bring your anxiety down, but
Mhm.
also to move out of the space so that you're able to step back a little bit. Because sometimes we don't know who's going to support us or where, or if we can manage it. But
Mhm.
it's the really small things that we do that make a difference to that absolute panic and
Mhm.
trauma inside,
Mhm.
because it ticks deeply.
Mhm.
So to try and be present with the small things that we do,
Mhm.
so that we don't let the bigger picture of the trauma overwhelm us.
Mm,
So again,
yeah.
coming back to doing the dishes, feeling the hot water on your hands,
Mhm.
feeling the joy of the clean dishes,
Mhm.
staying completely present while you do whatever one task you're doing.
Mhm.
Start with one task a day, and then the next and the next. And by those small, slow things, you return into your body.
Mhm. Mhm. So like take out the intensity out of it and then stay in your
Yes.
body and stay present. And what is the third thing?
Well, I would say go somewhere that feels good
Oh,
so
go
that you
somewhere that
get
feels good. Yeah.
in, bring your whole presence into an activity that you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know EFT tapping
Mm-hmm.
or
EFT tap.
breath,
Yeah.
to go into the bathroom or go into a space on your own for a few
Mm-hmm.
minutes and do a tapping meditation. Because
Mm-hmm.
I likened myself, people talk about the cup half full and the cup half empty of water.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, the cup is full of water and it's full of anxiety
Mm-hmm.
and it's dripping and going over the top all the time. You're in
Mm-hmm.
that state. And you want to just, if you can just bring it down so that it's not overflowing, you've done
Mm-hmm.
yourself a big favor. And
Mm-hmm.
so a tapping meditation will just help bring that down.
Yeah.
Just help bring that down.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the
I have a,
analogy of that. The cup, like full cup and then overflowing. I love the analogy. That is so correct to explain how we are sometimes when we're going through something.
yes, and we all go through it. You
Yes,
cannot live
of course.
without going through it. But once you live as yourself, you don't have that because you know how to make decisions as yourself. And
Yeah.
that's what human design does. It explains to you how to make a decision as yourself. And
Mm.
when you know how to do that, you can move on the right path through life.
Mm.
Because we think that we have, and we have an expression, I don't know if you have it where you are,
Mhm.
but we have it, and we talk about the time of death.
Mm.
But it's not the time, it's the place. The
Mm.
time is just something that is measured, which is when you die.
Mhm.
You're not moving towards the time of your death, you're moving towards the place. And which path are you on? Are you on the
Mm.
path of yourself? Or are you on the path that somebody has told you you should be on?
Mm.
When you arrive at death, which we do, and you have lived the life that was for you, there is a beautiful completeness to it
Mhm.
and a deep sense of settledness in your spirit.
That is so true. I don't think we have that. I don't know if people talk about it in my culture, but I think what you're explaining was so right on. That is true. Like the place, it's not the time. And people always think about the time, not the place.
It's not the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the time. What path are you on? What
Yeah,
decisions are you making?
yeah,
Do they bring you joy? No, they're small questions, because if you are on the wrong path, you'll get to the end of your life and you'll think, what was it all for? And you might be thinking that as you're walking along your life now.
that's
Um,
true. So, my next question is about a pleasure and how or what do you do to find pleasure in life? I know like you do a lot of art and creativity, but what are the things that you want to share?
Oh, I think that art, I mean, I write every day.
Mm-hmm.
So I do writing almost every day. I
Mm-hmm.
write poems and I write things, and you don't have to be a poet. You know, again, if you were told at school, oh, mouth the words because you can't sing, oh, you're not a very good writer, oh, you can't really be an artist. You know, I mean, we've all been condemned with those words.
Yeah.
Um, they're devils on the shoulder. And the thing is that you have this devil on one shoulder with all the nasty things you've been told, and we
Uh-huh.
believe them. And you have to say to that devil, is that true? Is that true? Is that true? So if you sit down with a pen and a notepad book and you write for 5 minutes every day, you journal, you write gratitude of what you're grateful for, you draw pictures in your journal, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you enjoy cooking, you enjoy
Mm-hmm.
gardening, you know,
Mm-hmm.
anything that say you enjoy arranging your house.
Yeah.
You know, it isn't, creativity isn't exclusive. So there is the pleasure, and I also use um, pleasure practices,
Mm-hmm.
which I think probably a different conversation, but pleasure practices to rewire the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
So at a simple level, it can just be coming into your body, so you can feel your body. You could just stroke your face
Mm-hmm.
and feel into your body, and squeeze your arms and say, "This is my body. This
Mm-hmm.
is my body. This
Mm-hmm.
is my body." And you can give yourself a hug. So if you give yourself a hug now, if you're listening, and just squeeze your arms.
I'm squeezing my arms now.
Yeah, this is my body.
My
This
body.
is my body. This is my body. And smile as you do it and say, "This is my body. This is the perfect body for the life that I have been given to lead here. Oh, thank you, body. Thank you. Thank you." And you can
Oh,
feel the pleasure just in that
yeah.
tiny
And
exercise.
I really can feel your energy. Like I'm here in Jakarta and you're in Edinburgh, and I really can feel the energy of like I can feel that your energy like coming to me. I'm like feel like okay, I also feel my body and feel my pleasure and gratitude of having my body. It's so beautiful.
Yes.
And okay, so my last question, because you're a sex, love, and relationship coach, would you explain to me why is it important for us to be connected to our body and our sexuality to be ourselves, like you said, like to find
Yes, that's
ourselves?
yeah. So that's almost two questions. So there
Mm-hmm.
is the body and the sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So we live from our minds. We have
Mm-hmm.
been trained to live from our minds,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually, or sooner or later, we've pushed our bodies. So our minds are a bit like narcissists.
Mm-hmm.
They say, "Get up when you're tired and go and do this, and you do this because you're supposed to do this." And actually, that thing that brings you joy might bring you the life that you want, and you might meet the right people. So your body is the life. Your body is your life.
Mm-hmm.
Without your body, your mind isn't here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you abuse your body and you die, then you're not here anymore. Your body is the life. So, like a plant, if you have a plant in your home, you'll give it water, you'll treat it correctly, you'll move it around the house. You'll think, oh, that plant's not thriving there, I'll put it somewhere else. You find the right environment for the plant.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly the same with your body. It's absolutely no different. But the things that we water our bodies with are different.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason for sexuality is that sexuality is a huge it's a huge conditioning force.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a friend about it last night and saying, you know, when people are having sex or they've had sex or you see people kissing and being lovely, nobody says, "Oh, did you have a beautiful kiss? Did it light you up? Did that kiss just light you up? You look like you're shining after that kiss." You know, nobody says. So they might say if you've been to camp or race or holiday, Did you have a nice time? Was it relaxing? But we have no vocabulary that says that about sexuality. It says, put it over there. It's a little bit disgusting. It's not something anybody wants to know about. So that's just
That is so
that's,
true.
yeah, that's the tip of the iceberg. So when we come to own our sexual selves, we're uncovering a huge rock of conditioning. And when we uncover that, we find ourselves inside that. So we make the body the life, and of course, sex and the body go together. So by working with sexuality, you're working with the body's energies. And sexuality, oh gosh, I said to a friend at Christmas, oh, I'm working with sexuality. And they went, oh, is that like wild in the bedroom? And I'm like, not really. I'm talking about sexual energy, and it's about you being you, entirely you. It's not about fulfilling another idea, conditioned idea of what sexuality is. So through sexuality, we can find the you that you are, not the conditioned sexuality that you have been raised to be or that you imagine you should be. It's a big difference, a huge difference between those two things. So again, it's the path. You know, if you come into your sexuality, you find your way, you're leading the path, the correct path to the place where you will leave this world having fulfilled your purpose here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Moira, for everything. I like, this is so much. This is so deep. I really get so much from you. And if people want to follow you or people want to get connected with your work, where should they go?
Probably the easiest thing is Facebook, and I'm on Facebook as Moira KC, and I am on Instagram as Alouette KC. I don't know why. I think I lost my account and then I just gave it that name.
Yeah.
Probably need to change it, but that is the one that is there. Moira Cormack, it comes up as a Google search with my novel, The Witch of Land and Sea. So I am quite easily found on Google. So those things, and I also have a website, but Facebook is where I'm most active. But I'm on Twitter and I'm on LinkedIn as Moira Cormack. So I can be found in those two places, as well.
Thank you so much, Moira, for your time. This has been very precious. And as my first guest star, this is like amazing. Like, I really cannot imagine finding the most perfect, like better first guest than you are, because you've given us so much tonight. So thank you for your generosity and sharing all your stories.
Thank you for recognizing me and inviting me, my darling. It is lovely. It is a very sweet feeling to be recognized, invited, and asked and complete.
Thank you. So we're gonna talk soon after this.
Yeah.
Thank
Are
you.
you going to? Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.